All right. Welcome into the Hoops Rehab Show on a Thursday night, Eric. How you doing over there, buddy? We both got our Laker gears on, but down 0-2.
Dodgers or something. Yeah, pretty frustrating. It's obviously expected, not a huge surprise being down 0-2. If you looked at the final score of each game and didn't watch the game, you'd be like, okay. But just frustrating performances the last two games, I mean, some good, some bad, some ugly, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, we got a lot to get into. To me, this was a refs game. There's a lot of stuff the Lakers did wrong, a lot of stuff they did right. But the fact is they're down 0-2. We got to talk about the Pistons and Cavs, kind of how that series is going, and a big update on OG Anunoby out of New York is that he has a hamstring strain. We're going to kind of get into that, look at the recovery. But if you are joining us live on Twitter or if you're joining us live on YouTube, please hit the chat. We'll try to get to some of your questions, answers, whatever you have about the series or any playoff series, let us know. We'll try to get to it. All right, Eric, you ready to get this cracking?
Let's do it.
All right. So right off the bat, you're going into this game like you saw what Austin Reeves has done for 3 games, and you're like, he has to get going in order for the Lakers to be anything in this playoff series.
Yeah.
And he had his playoff career high tonight. I heard his stat before. He's played in the playoffs. He's never scored above 25. I'm like, damn. Or he's only scored 25 once.
Okay.
I was like, damn, because he had those, the I am him moments against Memphis, the whole series where he got to the Western Conference Finals, and you thought he had more than 25, but he really hadn't. So I thought in the first half, he kind of got a little bit warm. He ended up with 13 in the first half, but that third quarter, he kind of came out. He looked a little more spry. He looked like his body was moving better. And, he had 31, so you can't really fault him for that. But he did look a little healthier in that second half. What did you see with Austin Reeves, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, there was some moments like first quarter or so that was like, man, just took a couple bad threes, and we were kind of like, oh, here we go again. And just he was kind of getting beat defensively, and things like that. And so, but yeah, somewhere I guess mid second quarter and through the second half, he definitely turned it around. He was a big reason why they got back into the game. Why midway through the third, it was a game, right? Pretty close. Maybe that wasn't expected, but obviously we know what happened in the fourth. And but yeah, a big night for Austin Reeves, at least on the personal level. I know you had some tough games, obviously career high, as you said, in the playoffs, and so gonna need that and some in LA, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that's kind of the good part, right? Now let's get to some of the bad parts. I felt this game kind of got out of hand with a lot of the calls by the ref, right? I mean, you can go. I mean, there's a couple possessions that I felt when Austin Reeves got fouled and tried to, get free throws. I mean, that was literally a fast shooting foul. They called it on the ground. LeBron gets an one in the fourth quarter. Not on the ground. Again, on the ground. And it's like, I don't know what a continuation is anymore, because how are those not continuation fouls? Do you understand that rule, Eric?
No, I think for a while there, the continuation play was getting a little out of hand. So they wanted to kind of nip that, but it's gone to the point where it's even worse now. Cause it's wait, how was that not a continuation? He was literally on the way to go take a shot or whatever, there's been a lot of circumstances where you're like, wait, what the heck, And so, yeah, I really can't tell what is and what isn't these days. I know it's something that they watch for. And again, there was a time where it was getting a little just heck out of hand. And I know it was for a while there, right? It's oh, if you don't take a dribble, it's an and one, right? That was kind of the old school thought. But yeah, I to this day, I don't understand what would be a shooting foul or not, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially the 3-point line too. It's just you just never know, man.
Yeah. It's frustrating, right? Because you're trying to come back in this game, or you're trying to maintain closeness with this team, and like sometimes the fouls are just not there, right? And I felt like
Yeah.
even on both sides, right? Like sometimes there's stuff called on the Lakers where you're like, well, that should have been fouled or shouldn't have been fouled. So you got to be even both ways, right? I was glad when the Austin Reeves foul on SGA was not ruled a flagrant, because that is the definition of a hard playoff foul. Like you
Yeah.
texted me, what are you supposed to give up an open layup to SGA? No, that's a hard playoff foul, right? SGA got called for a flagrant because he yanked Austin Reeves' arm. So that makes sense. He made a hostile act or whatever they want to call it. But there was numerous times that LeBron was getting hit, getting hacked. They wouldn't call it. DeAndre Ayton, same type of thing. They wouldn't call it. So that's one thing, right? I mean, you know you're going to deal with that in certain places, especially in an OKC. They are the king of flopping. They are the team that gets the fouls, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. What were your thoughts kind of overall with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely first game was a lot, I think, better officiated. With Zach Zarba's crew, and Zach Zarba's like probably one of the top officials, so he refed game one. I wouldn't say we had a lot of conversation about fouls then, right?
Sure.
And so this one, although be at the same result, yes, it was going both ways a little bit, but there was just some kind of like momentum killers. And again, they didn't call it flagrant, but just the fact that they went to the replay, they took 10 years to make the call that it wasn't. I just didn't understand that at all. They switched like officials, and Lakers. Again, it sounds excusey, but Lakers were kind of getting back into a groove there, and it just totally just stalls everything. Although it wasn't called a flagrant, I thought for sure they were going to call it that. Just it's just kind of how it's been, and so not the reason they lost, but it didn't help matters. I don't think OKC needs help, but that's just how the Thunder do it. They definitely like push the envelope, right? They make these refs make calls, and they're like, are you going to really call like something every time down the court? Probably not. And so they were taking advantage. I mean, obviously SGA was in foul trouble, so it's not like, he was getting some fouls called on him, and it's tough. It's tough to probably officiate like these moments in these games, but I do think it's got to be better.
Yeah, and I'll end it at this. I mean, I posted a video on Twitter, on X, when Chet pretended like he got hit in the face, and he literally got elbowed in the chest, right? So he literally flopped his head back, grabbed his face, and did not get hit at all. So I there used to be this flopping rule, or they would get fined, things like that. I mean, literally, Stan Van Gundy's on the call, just like, he did not get hit in the face. That's the biggest flop you ever seen, right? So
you should lose some credibility with that too, man. It's like, come on,
sure.
and maybe like some guys on the Lakers do that too. I'm not saying it's just one-sided, but you just, you like should. I think there is some kind of fine. I don't know. Or I thought we were giving technicals for that, but maybe not. I think that would have been appropriate if that was the case. But nonetheless, it's tough out there. But it'd be nice if it was just kind of called even out there.
Yeah. Some of the comments here: refs were atrocious. Obviously, they're pretty bad. So I mean, if you're on the Lakers side, you're probably thinking that. If you're on OKC side, you're probably thinking they didn't get enough calls, right?
Yeah.
So either way, whatever you guys think, drop something in the comments. We'll kind of get to the show. We'll drop it in the show and kind of talk about it. Now I want to talk about the bad. The third quarter, Eric, they were up 69-64. Right, with how many minutes to go? They're 8:35 to go.
Yeah,
into that quarter,
almost
93 to 80. Right, Lakers had 8 turnovers in the third to 7 field goals made.
Wow,
can't win a game like that, Eric. You just can't. If you can't take care of the basketball, you can't win in the playoffs. And this is kind of showing how bad they're missing their point guard. Obviously, Luka Doncic, and obviously you're missing the points from them, but you're just missing another ball handler, and they're having difficulties. They had a lot of turnovers in the Houston series, but got away with it. This is a frustrating thing that happened in the third quarter, and that's what cost them the game.
Yeah, I mean, Thunder, we knew turnovers were going to be a problem. It's just that you can't get 21 in a game and expect to win. if it's 13-15, like, hey, you gotta tip your cap, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I think kind of similar to last game. I was just looking at the team stats. Like, OKC shot 56%, Lakers 50, 3-point percentage 38 and 39. Lakers actually no, OKC out rebounded the Lakers 32-30. OKC made 6 more shots, right? And the big thing is points off turnovers, 26-14. That's obviously a big chunk. And we were talking about fouls and things earlier. So free throw line, Lakers did a nice job, 18 for 21, and OKC was 21 for 26. So nothing too egregious in terms of that. But yeah, at the end of the day, 7 more big turnovers for OKC. Because what that would mean is probably Lakers didn't score, and OKC probably did score, right? And that's 14, 15, 16-point turnaround. And so very obvious. It's easier said than done. Got to find a way just to not give this team easy baskets, man. I almost don't mind playing against them in the half court. It's tough as hell to score against them in the half court. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it at all. I think if there's a recipe to beat this team is, make sure they're taking the ball out of the basket or on the sideline, right?
For sure. You can't allow them to get in the transition. They're too fast. They're too physical. They'll either get to the basket or they're going to hit a wide open 3. Right?
Yep. That's what they do.
Jared McCain had 18 points in 18 minutes. I mean, he was on fire. He had a couple threes in the second quarter. And then on the third quarter, got crazy again too. And you finish the game with 20 turnovers. You can't win in the playoffs with that many turnovers. It's not going to happen. We got some comments here from YouTube. Lakers now will fall. LeBron should find the team which is deep to help him in defense. Lakers, no defense and offense, very weak team. Well, I mean, that's probably taking a little bit too far.
We feel you. We feel the pain,
Yeah,
but
we feel the pain. We feel how it is to be a Laker fan, but we got to remember Luka's not playing. And Eric, obviously, I treat injuries for a living. I'm a physical therapist. I rehab a lot of athletes, rehab a lot of common day folks too as well.
Yeah.
Not to saying that he needs to get out and play, but as a Laker fan, I can see the frustration in people that they just want to see him get going. Frustrating part is he was supposed to be out at least 8 weeks, right?
Yeah.
We are now at 5 weeks today.
Oh, that's right.
And the reality is, even if he wants to, and you heard in his press conference that he wants to be out here, he just hasn't even tested it really. He's just doing running. He hasn't even done any contact yet. And to think that would happen in the next 2 games, I highly doubt it. I mean, the series could be over in 4 games right now.
Yeah.
Right? So if we're thinking he's going to get back maybe game 5, maybe game 6, maybe game 7, or nothing at all, the Lakers are going to have to figure out how to win at home. And I know they say series does not start until the road team wins. Is that true in this series, Eric?
For me, it's always like a series is going to either start or it's going to end, right? And so when a team goes up 3-0, it means it's over, right? Or if if it's 2-2 after 4 games, I'd imagine the series just started, I think, too, right? And so Luka, I think we know enough now that it's got to be like a kind of a psychological thing too, and a physical thing. And so we're not going to get near the best of Luka if he were to strap it up and play game 3. I think if it was like a 1-game playoff, right, or game of 7 or something, and it's like you just need some morale and have him go out there and hoist some shots, sure. But you need him to like win 4 out of the next 5, right? Because that's what it's come to. Lakers got to win 4 out of 5 against OKC. Hope people understand that. Not going to happen, obviously. And we've seen the last of Luka for this season. It's unfortunate. And I hope we don't have to deal with him having soft tissue injuries like going forward. That's uncontrollable, but it's just tough. It's literally the reason. Not saying that's the reason why we lost, but it's literally the reason why we don't stand a chance. Lakers have him. I'm kind of confident that it would be a different series,
A healthy Luka like not coming off the hamstring, and
Yeah.
the way he's playing this season, this series is totally different because the one positive that coming out of the first 2 games, they have found a way to play SGA.
Yeah.
And if anything, that should give you confidence going home. The problem is they just don't have enough points to put up with this team. And if they turn the ball over, it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
But they are trying to have the other players beat them, and those other players are beating them right now. And one of to me, the biggest mismatch that they have is they have nobody to guard Chet. Like he is such a matchup nightmare for the Lakers because he's just too long, too big. I mean, he's reaching over Rui. He's reaching over any guard that gets him, gets the offensive rebound. He's getting blocks. He had 5 steals tonight.
Damn.
Right. So he's doing everything defensively and on the offensive end. He's had back-to-back 20-plus games. Right. So I think that's their toughest matchup. So JJ's got to scheme something. I know we had Vando out tonight. I know you just have Aiden and Hayes, and those are the only big guys you got. But you got to figure out a way to get Chet off the boards.
Yeah, and that's why a team is really good. You game plan about trying to stop, quote unquote, their best player, and then you got to do it same thing with Chet, right? And then what that's going to do is probably sacrifice some of the game plan against SGA, right? And then he's going to free up, and so that's what it's about, having like 2 or 3 like stars and all-stars on your team, because you really can't do that. You have to just, be honest and try to probably take away the best player, but that's not obviously going to work out. And so, yeah, Chet's been, I mean, like he obviously hasn't put up gaudy numbers, but just if you like the eye test tells you they have nothing for him. And to me, he hit the biggest shot of the game, which Lakers said we're on the run, only down 5 in the 4th quarter. And Chet, I think Ayton was on him, and Chet squared him up and hit a 3. And then right after that, Marcus Smart made that terrible pass that I think Caruso stole, right? And then they got the foul and the bucket because it was a clear path. So like it just, that moment right there just changed everything, and it started with Chet's 3-pointer. I liked the defensive effort right there. It was like Aiden was on him. He didn't let him get by him. He hit a tough 3, man. And I would take that shot, and he hit it. And if he misses, maybe it's a different story going forward. But yeah, Chet has been really, really good. And Lakers got their words cut out for them, to see if they can maybe steal a game. But and again, they're going to play Saturday. It's going to be travel. So it's going to be tough for sure.
Yeah, I mean, going into game 3, I think that at least you have confidence because you know how to play SGA, right? Yeah. I think the Lakers have to find something out of their bench. Jake LaRavia, I mean, we can go on and on about him, but we're getting absolutely nothing from him. I will say this, though. He does come in and play hard, and he plays defense on SGA. Like, he gets in people's bodies. But offensively, he is such in a drought that he has no confidence whatsoever to shoot the ball, to take the ball to the hoop, or do anything offensively. I mean, it's a struggle right now, right? So if you look at it, it's really just Kennard coming off the bench, and that's all you got. You got one player coming off the bench that can score. Jackson Hayes is more obviously the hustle guy, trying to get blocks, get some layups, get some dunks, things like that. But offensively, you have nothing coming off the bench right now. I don't know if you can find that anywhere. I don't know if you can go to Dalton Connect. I don't think you can go to Bronny, but there has to be some move in there. Maybe even having Maxi Kleber come in and stretch big. I know they did that last year in his experiment. And he obviously does not play that well on this team, or maybe just doesn't have the talent anymore.
Yeah, he was coming off the injury too, right?
Yeah, he was coming off the injuries last year. So, but you got to find something that can come in there for 5 to 10 minutes, somebody to spark this team and not allow OKC to go on these runs, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, if you just like go with the same everything next game, I'm sorry, it just, you're at home, so you're going to probably have the crowd. You might have a nice spurt in the beginning, things like that. But yeah, you got to try something. I would not blame them for throwing Dalton Connect out there and see if he could hit 3 or 4 3-pointers. Because offensively they scored more than the 70 I predicted today, but and they had moments that they were able to score, but they just had these dry spells, and so I'm all for trying anything, and that's obviously a sign of trouble when you're doing that. But you got to throw the kitchen sink and try to get game 3, and then you get game 3, and then hey, just little bit of momentum, and all of a sudden game 4 becomes huge. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a challenge. I said that like 10 times already tonight. Just because I'm just like I don't know. Like I've never seen 2 close games and lose by 18 like I'm seeing right now. They paper cut you to death, as I said.
Yeah.
And it's just like you just look back and you're like, what the hell just happened? How did you lose by 18 when it was literally 4 or 5 point game a couple seconds ago? And so,
and to me, what loses the game are the runs, man. They went on a 11-0 run in the first quarter, right? They went on 21-5 run in the third, and then the fourth they went on another 8-0 running, and just like that. And it's like you go from it being like, did you get down to a 3-point game or 4-point game in the fourth? I think it was like down to.
Well, it was down to 5 when Chad hit the 3 that I was talking about.
Okay, down to 5. But it's just like they go on these runs and then boom, you're down by 11 or 12. And that's it, and that's the game for you because you can't continue to make these runs and then allow them to do that. So they have to figure out a way to stop those runs. Obviously, it helps not to turn over the ball because that's what gets them going in transition. You got to hold on to the ball. You absolutely go into game 3. You got to have 10 turnovers or less.
Yeah, put tape on your hands, whatever you got to do to just keep that ball. Yeah, I'm trying to look. Yeah, they were up. Yeah, it got down to 5. It was 97-92 with 8:26 left.
Frustrating.
Yeah, and actually Lakers had the ball. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, Lakers had the ball. And I remember Ayton lost it, and then and they came hit it 3.
Right?
Yeah. So,
all right.
Anyways,
game. We'll see what happens when they go back to LA. They don't have much time to kind of go in between. It's every other day, right? So that was the tough part about this series, right? And if you think about it, LeBron got banged up in the series, or at least in this game. Fell on his hip hard. You don't think that's going to be sore tomorrow? Of course it is. Fell on his wrist. It's going to be sore tomorrow. He's also 41 years old. So everything's going to hurt more, right? You got to fly home. You're probably trying to do anything and everything on Friday to rest your body. And then you got to play again on Saturday. So it's not looking good in terms of that. But I think at least they have the game plan defensively to scheme on SGA. You just got to not have these runs by the other guys here.
Yeah. I'm just a little worried. Like we're due for kind of like a big SGA game coming up here, and so which it wouldn't be a surprise, obviously, but they got to try their best not to make that happen, and hopefully, it's I don't know, try to get a game, just get a damn game. I know you're 0-6 against them this year, this season, and so nobody's getting fooled out here thinking they're going to now win 4 or 5, but show some pride. Not saying they haven't. They've been playing hard. They're just playing a better team, but get one in LA, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So if anybody else has any comments on X or YouTube, drop them in there. We'll talk about it towards the end, about the Lakers Thunder series. But now we need to get into the Pistons winning again and going up 2-0 against the Cleveland Cavs. Now, this game was a close game kind of throughout. It kind of went back and forth. Pistons would kind of take the lead. Cleveland kind of come back, and then Pistons obviously ended up just closing this game out. But Eric, playoff Harden was back tonight. I don't know if you saw it. Playoff Harden was back.
We said, for Cleveland to win game 2, they're going to need Donovan Mitchell and James Harden to kind of do what they do right in their careers. And Mitchell joined the party, but James Harden was just off, and obviously not all on him, but Pistons, obviously they made it tough for him. Just kind of watching it. I just gave him fits, and he just had, unfortunately, just kind of one of those games that he is tends to have in the playoffs as of late. And so
Yep.
big hole now. I do like him, getting maybe a game or two in Cleveland. But yeah, I mean, Detroit, as we talked about last game, ever since game 6 of Orlando, they've really, really flipped the switch, and now they're playing super confident, and they look like the team that we saw all season, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Defending really well.
Pistons, since they were down 3-1, have literally figured out how to defend the ball again because they
Yeah.
were a good defensive team, obviously,
Yeah.
all year. And something was off, to start the series. They finally got it going again. You got Jalen Duran downstairs, down low, that's really physical and just that presence. Obviously, I say Isaiah Stewart that comes off the bench, and I think he averaged like almost 2 blocks a game in his limited time throughout the whole season. So you have these players. Ashore Thompson was getting physical with James Harden, not allowing him to get to the block, pushing on him, holding on him all the time throughout the game. And that's tough, right? And so he's going to turn the ball over. Like, he's going to have one of those games. Now, one of our listeners right now said, Nick Wright tweeted out that it was the 46th time that James Harden has had as many or more turnovers than made field goals, more than 25% of his career playoff games.
Wow.
Now, when you think about that, that's damn awful, right? And that's why you get this playoff Harden in a bad way. It's not the positive playoff Harden, right? So, he has the ball. That's his thing. He's going to hold on to the ball throughout the game. And this is what has made it difficult for him to kind of win in the playoffs, because when you got a player that constantly is holding on to the ball, it doesn't allow flow to your offense. Hence the reason why you're scoring 97 points in a playoff game, and you're the Cleveland Cavs that are supposed to have this prolific scoring, prolific offense, especially with the 4 guys that they got in the starting lineup and a lot of shooters coming off the bench. So I don't know. Do you see this getting better as it goes to Cleveland, Eric?
The only I see, like I said, I mean, I do. It's going to be a change of scenery. I think some of the guys on Cleveland that just were not playing well, I think they're going to be playing better at home. But I'm just kind of noticing, like, Detroit is definitely deeper. They just have more bodies to throw at their stars than vice versa. Like looking at Cleveland, right? I mean, Dennis Schroeder. I mean, he's like I'll take Dennis Schroeder on my team. I mean, he didn't have a good performance tonight, but I mean, you got Max Strus, right? Again, they only scored 97 points, so I didn't expect like a juggernaut from the bench. But I mean, 1 for 6, 1 3-pointer. Keon Ellis, 6. They're just not. They're not as deep, I guess, as I thought. And I think that's going to eventually do them in. I think Detroit just got kind of like, they're like the not nearly as good, but like kind of like the baby Thunder when it comes to just a lot of guys that play and a lot of guys that D up and they press all down the floor, and so they make it really hard. And so that's going to travel. That the play of from the offensive side, that doesn't always travel, but that defense will travel. And so I'd like Cleveland to get back into the series. I do think Detroit ultimately wins it. But I do like Cleveland to maybe even get both over there. But obviously it starts with game 3.
So
what do you see? Do you see?
I mean, I feel like they have too much talent not to win a game. Like, I would have more confidence, unfortunately, in the Cavs winning game 3 than the Lakers winning game 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Detroit has figured out that they're a top team, right? And this Eastern Conference is kind of starting to shape up. Like, it's going to be Detroit versus New York, and what happened last year. How good that series was.
Yeah,
right? And that was the up-and-coming Detroit team, right? And that was the team that was like, ooh, look, they were almost ready for you guys. So that would be an intriguing matchup. I'm not going to count out Cleveland. Philly, I think the OG injury that we're about to get into has changed a little bit, because I think Philly can kind of go home and get game 3. And then it would be a really big game for game 4. But let's get into that right now. So OG Anunoby, Left yesterday's game with about 2.5, I think, minutes to go. Kind of pulled up. You can see him grab his right hamstring. They said he has a hamstring strain, but he's day to day, Eric. If you have a hamstring strain,
We
that means
know about the strains now.
yeah.
Believe me.
Like, even if
Everybody should
you
know.
think it's minor, it's still grade 1, right? That typically takes 1 to 2 weeks to heal. 7 to 10 days at the earliest.
Look
But
at
we're talking
William.
about a
Straight up.
normal player is usually 1 to 2 weeks, and they're usually on the 2-week end before they come back. It's the playoffs. That crunch time is shortened. However, to say he's questionable for game 3 is highly unlikely. 2024, OG had a left hamstring injury, I think, in game 3. He tried to return in game 7. So he's obviously out game 4, 5, 6.
It was bad.
Tried to return in game 7, was not himself, couldn't really finish the game. They lost that game, and so on and so on. And they continue with that, right? So they lost that one, right? I think.
Yeah, I think it's Indiana.
Yeah, that was against Indiana. So I don't think he's playing game 3. I mean, I would highly be shocked if he were to go out there, even if he's feeling good, because you know how easily he can re-aggravate it. So that, to me, gives Philly a little chance in this game 3. Who knows if Embiid's going to play? He might have got some rest and maybe be back, and that makes a huge difference in that team. What do you think of Philly's chances in game 3, especially if you hear OG is out?
Well, I guess first off with Embiid, it was a little alarming, him being out game 2. I'm kind of sitting here thinking, man, did they kind of just give it their all in that 7-game series against Boston? And that's just not much left in the tank, perhaps. And I think with the OG injury, I think Knicks are playing with a little bit of house money. And so I think they could afford to lose a game. Obviously, maybe they get one in Philly and it's 3-1, and you can kind of probably sit them until the Eastern Finals if they get there. And so just seeing the first 2 games, obviously game 2 is a lot closer. And I can't be confident now that Embiid is going to be there where they play every other game now, right? Or every other day. And so I thought if Philly got game 2, which they were kind of close to, kind of similar like they did against Boston, then I would say, hey, we have a series. But I think Knicks have kind of taken a stranglehold. I don't think it'll be a sweep or anything like that, but I could easily see it being 3-1 going back for game 5 in New York.
Game 5. Yeah.
And then, hey, maybe, who knows? It could be a toss-up game. But.
Yeah, I mean, so far we got 3 series that are 2-0, and then we got the 1-1 with San
Antonio. There's only really one series that I think is still up in the air, in my opinion.
The San Antonio, Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, both games have been, you see Minnesota come out, win game 1, and game 2 was that San Antonio typical kind of game, like where they dominate. So I really don't know what team we're going to see for either team in game 3. I think that will be a battle, and that will be a big pivotal part of the series. Now, the other 2-3 series that are 2-0, if you had to guess out of those 3, which team is likely to come back from 0-2 deficit?
Damn. I'm not going to put the Lakers.
Okay.
I'm going to say maybe.
Even though with Luka coming back at some point?
Luka came back?
No. Okay.
I'm gonna say Cleveland.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not saying it's going to happen, but I would say if I had to choose.
My choice, Eric, would be
Philly.
Because we know how New York gets in these playoffs. I sent you the video today.
Yeah.
You got my favorite time of year is when the Knicks win a game in the playoffs. It usually starts with like game 1, a first round, game 2, whatever it is. And they go to that interview on the streets of New York, and you got the guys going crazy, talking so much shit. It's hilarious. And then all of a sudden they lose a game they weren't supposed to lose. And they lose another one. And then all of a sudden they're out of the playoffs. So I think if I'm New York, you got to be as physical and as ready for game 3. because you don't want to lose that game. Because I think Game 4 would be hell for you. You go back to if you go back to New York down 2-2, and it's Game 5. I'm telling you right now, you give the momentum to Philly, Embiid is back. It's not going to be fun in Game 5 at 2-2. So I feel like that series is the closest to maybe coming back at a 2-2 series. I would love to say the Lakers, but man, it's just OKC. I mean, we knew that about the seeding, that we would have to play them in the second round. You got to play them eventually. But man, they are just built different, and they're super hard to guard. We were talking about this earlier. You can name any player on that team, and it's almost the same player. You can go AJ McCain, because that's AJ Mitchell, Jordan McCain. They're all the freaking same player.
Isaiah Joe, we got
you guys,
AJ Mitchell, whatever Mitchell, Wiggins, Carson Wallace, whatever his name is.
They're all the same. It's like they just breed them, and they're like, hey, what type of player do you want? 6'5" guard.
Yeah, they all like the same height too, and
can shoot
same
and
kind of game.
Play defense all day. And then you know what? I was looking at Lou Dort. How thick is Lou Dort? Like, he is freaking built like a brick. He's strong as hell, and he's picking guys up as soon as they cross half court. Doesn't give him any space.
Yeah,
that's the type of defender that you need. That's a championship defender. They have a bunch of them on their team, and it's just gonna be very difficult.
Yeah. With Dort, it's like he's just a perfect player on that team, right? If he can't be a top player on a team, but when you got a bunch of guys like they got, all he's got to do is D up and hit the open three, right? That's his responsibility. And I'm down to give him all the 3-point shots he can get. Like for example, today I think he went 1 for 6. But it's just, again, Thunder. Yeah, they have a lot of guys, and it's hard to not all like. There's going to be 2 or 3 of them that are going to go off because they have so many, and so it's how it is.
Yep. So be interesting to see what happens on Saturday, but hopefully the Lakers can at least get Game 3 and make it a series and prolong the chances of Luka coming back. That's all we're asking for, Eric. That's all we're asking, is for a fair chance in these playoffs.
Yep.
All right. So we'll be back on soon. Go over games. And do you got anything else before we get out of here, Eric?
No, that's it. We'll wrap it up. Obviously, you got some big ones tomorrow and then Saturday, and we'll kind of be covering it after that.
All right, you got it. All right. So let's see.
What do we got here?
We got one little comment before we get out of here. Well, I don't really want to show this, but Reese is effing trash. No,
there was another one there.
Let's see. We got refs were bad both ways. Can you admit?
We did
admit that.
We did say that.
It went both ways. It was not just the Lakers' way. So that was not a well-ref game. We talked about how Zach Zarba in the Game 1, great ref, great crew, had the whole thing organized. It was totally different than Game 2. So there are a lot of calls that were just both sides. It was not the way you call game. And then it's like getting to the reviews and all that crap, right? How long does it take when you got multiple people in New Jersey or whatever telling the ref, you see the call, just call the F and call, right? But I think obviously JJ showed his frustration, got a T. And LeBron, I don't know how. Wait, he never got a technical, did he?
He like skated that line,
because that dude was in the ref.
If it were Luka, he would have probably got a T for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Or if it was Draymond Green or whatever.
Yeah.
Rasheed Wallace.
For sure. But yeah, obviously terrible called game, and hopefully this cleared up in the Game 3. But like always, we will see you guys soon. But the Hoops Rehab team is out, you guys. Peace out.
Peace out, everyone.